In just minutes, a river of destruction carved its way through the Nevada desert, swallowing an entire highway. This is not a scene from a disaster movie. This is Nevada, 2025, and it's happening right now. It began with a scent familiar to any desert dweller, petrichor, the smell of rain on dry earth. For a few minutes, a light, almost welcome shower cooled the sun-baked landscape. But this was no ordinary summer storm. At precisely 2:47 p.m. local time, the sky opened with an unprecedented ferocity. What began as scattered drops transformed into a terrifying wall of water, a churning, debris-filled torrent racing down the valley. Within minutes, a 200-foot stretch of State Route 95 was simply erased from the map.
I was just pulling over to take a picture of the storm clouds. They looked incredible. There was no official warning on the radio, nothing on my phone. 1 second, the ground was dry, just a little damp from the drizzle. The next, I heard this roar. It wasn't thunder. It was a deep, grinding sound, like the earth itself was groaning. I looked up, and it was like the whole canyon was moving. It wasn't just water, it was mud, rocks, entire trees. The river wasn't just alive, it was angry.
The question on everyone's mind was, where did all this water come from? In a region that averages less than 5 inches of rain a year, this event defied all logic. Meteorologists scrambled for answers and found them in a phenomenon more commonly associated with the coastal rainforests of the Pacific Northwest.
We identified a classic but geographically anomalous atmospheric river. Think of it as a massive conveyor belt of water vapor in the sky, thousands of miles long and hundreds of miles wide, flowing from the tropical Pacific. This one took an unusual southern track, funneling a surge of deep tropical moisture directly into the arid heart of the desert Southwest. It was carrying the water equivalent of the Mississippi River, and it was all aimed at one place.
But the atmospheric river was only one half of the deadly equation. The other was the ground itself. Years of drought had baked the desert soil into a hard, impermeable crust, a condition known as hydrophobia.
The ground here is so dry it effectively repels water, much like a waterproof jacket. Instead of soaking in, the rain just accumulates and runs off instantly. When you dump that much water, several inches in under an hour, onto a surface that can't absorb it, you create the perfect recipe for a catastrophic flash flood. The steep, narrow canyons of the region acted like a funnel, concentrating that runoff into an unstoppable force.
A river in the sky meeting a desert that couldn't drink. The science was clear, but for those on the ground, the nightmare was just beginning. As the waters surged, a massive rescue operation launched. First responders were deployed within minutes, battling the raging floodwaters and the relentless clock. From the air, helicopters performed daring hoists, plucking families from the roofs of their submerged vehicles. Simultaneously, on the ground, swift water rescue teams navigated treacherous currents in inflatable boats, reaching those trapped in the deluge.
The water was rising so fast up to the windows. I could feel the car starting to shift. I honestly thought that was it, that my car was going to be my coffin. Then through the rain, I saw the lights of the rescue boat. Hearing their voices call out, I've never felt a wave of relief like that in my life.
But for every life saved, a scar was left on the landscape. The damage extends far beyond the buckled asphalt. Entire sections of the road are simply gone, washed away, leaving a chasm where a vital artery once stood. State officials face a monumental task. Early estimates place the repair cost at over $50 million, a figure that doesn't even account for the long-term economic disruption or the environmental cleanup ahead. Rebuilding will be a marathon, not a sprint. Nevada is no stranger to the raw power of a flash flood. History shows us a pattern written in water and mud. But what makes the desert so uniquely vulnerable? The ground, baked hard by the sun, repels water like concrete. Dry riverbeds can transform into violent torrents in mere minutes, with little warning. This event wasn't just another flood. It was a stark illustration of this unforgiving reality, where the line between a dry landscape and a deadly deluge is terrifyingly thin. The scientific consensus is clear. Climatologists point to a warming world as the primary driver. As our atmosphere holds more moisture, storms become supercharged, capable of dropping unprecedented rain. What was once a 100-year storm is now a recurring threat. Our infrastructure, our roads, drainage systems, and homes was built for a climate of the past. The question is no longer an event like this will happen again, but how prepared we will be when it does. And yet, in the face of destruction, a powerful story of resilience emerges. This flood will be remembered not just for the wreckage, but for the unyielding spirit of those who confronted it. We saw neighbors helping neighbors and communities uniting to begin the long process of healing. But true resilience is more than rebuilding what was lost. It's about reimagining our future, building back smarter and stronger for the storms that are inevitably on the horizon. This responsibility falls on all of us. On an individual level, preparedness is a necessity. Have a go bag ready. Know multiple evacuation routes. Sign up for local emergency alerts. But individual action isn't enough. We must also demand a collective response. Investment in climate-resilient infrastructure, updated zoning laws, and policies that tackle the climate crisis at its source. The next storm is coming. The only question is, will we be ready? We,